He's got 3 divinations, 4 dissolves, 2 syncopes, 2 last breath, a deicide, and a quicken. Looks a lot like what Jim Davis brought to the table initially in Providence.
Another oddball in Luis's list here. He's cut the 4th Mutavault for 1 copy of Nykthos.
That's a little bit surprising.
Very rarely seen.
Temple of Deceit to start things off here for Cook. Reyes will play a Rakdos Cackler. It has been unleashed. We'll kick it back over to Cook. Again, I expect to see Cook on camera at some point tomorrow, as here is an Elixir of Immortality, as he is always playing Storm and playing it well and deep into our Legacy tournaments, but right now having a great Standard Open. He's going to take 2. We'll go down here to 18. Reyes will follow this up with some sort of 1-drop. It'll be a Tormented Hero, and ooh, just has to pass the turn back, no second land.
So this is going to be the test here if Bryant can find a Supreme Verdict, although missing white mana thus far.
It's time to attack. Here's an attack for 4. So Cook's going to go down to 14. We'll see if Luis has something to play to follow up. He does. You have to imagine this is going to get dissolved very quickly.
Yeah, Bryant's hand needs a lot of help here, so I think he's thrilled that Luis cast anything this turn, because he just really needs to scry.
That card stayed on top very fast as well, and it is a Plains. Just going to pass the turn back. Looks like Cook has another dissolve if they're ready. And of course, let's not forget the ability to shuffle in that Elixir as well. Going to fire from Mutavault, looks like. Maybe happy to trade here, maybe not. A little unsure of himself at this point. Looks like he's going to take 4 and go down to 10. Here's a second land, timely there for Reyes. And the follow-up now is a Thrill Kill Assassin, and that's going to get countered as well. These dissolves working overtime.
Yep. Although if Bryant can't find one of his big things here soon, whether it's Jace or a sweeper effect, something, he can't really trade like this all day long.
Gonna shuffle in the Elixir right now. And you see this in the main phase. I imagine what we're going to see here to follow up is probably just land divination. That wouldn't surprise me if that's the next thing that we see. If that's the next thing, that we see.
It would stand to reason if he's willing to do this here. Otherwise, this seems oddly preemptive.
It looks like there may be a temple in the grip here. Yeah, there's going to be a temple, so no divination at all. Just getting this over with right now, just going to pass the turn back.
I guess he knows he's going to shuffle anyway, so he might as well do it now so the scry is informed.
Okay, that does make sense. It's time to attack, and that's what Reyes will do. Down to 11, goes Cook, follow-up play. That's a thrill kill. And Bryant doesn't have the counter magic this go around. Oh, well, that was quick, right off the top. And this is a planar cleansing.
But Reyes, missing land drops here, he's in a position to potentially fight this off again if Bryant doesn't have some sort of really powerful follow-up to all of this.
Well, you know what they say. Mana screw beats mana flood. And Reyes has had some issues with lands, obviously, but that means he has spells to cast.
Yeah.
So he'll deploy 2 more, and Gnarled Scarhide in Pains here. For Bryant, he needs to find a Revelation to be able to convert and turn the corner pretty quickly right now. And it doesn't look like he has one.
Even Elspeth, even his Aetherling in this spot would be probably good enough.
Just going to play Hallowed Fountain tapped and pass the turn back. Will Cook. He's going to play a Mutavault. He's drawing out of this now. And now the Bestow cards come online. That's where things get really scary.
Yep.
Here's an attack for 4. Will Cook fire at Mutavault? Looks like he's going to. Offer up a trade maybe with the old Pains here. Well, that's the block, and that is the exchange. So Cook will take 2, go down to 9. Let's see what Reyes has to follow up with. It's a Spiteful Return. There is a Dissolve. So very quick with the counterspell. You're going to leave that card on top again. That's 3 for 3 for cards being on top of the deck, and it is a Sphinx's Revelation. I would have liked to see a main phase Revelation there if I'm Bryant, just because, he draws 3 cards and there's a potential for him to hit a land.
Yeah.
Here's an attack for 4, put Cook down to 5.
Although he may want to last breath this turn instead. If Luis started off the turn with, let's say, I'll bestow something onto my Gnarled Scarhide, that might be enough to warrant a last breath. So maybe better just to wait a little bit.
Game 3, draw 3. I think both are important right now.
Yeah.
Normally it's one or the other. There's a Mutavault. Looks like Cook picked up a couple of lands. There also looks to be a Jace over there. You see a Deicide in the grip as well. There's also a Divination, so a pretty good hand there for Bryant. See if he can keep turning the corner.
Step 1, he got that out of the way.
Yeah.
But he's got to be worried also at this point. You know, how safe is your Jace here? You're playing against a deck that's likely to have Hero's Downfall.
There is Jace. Elevator's going down. A little surprised by that. Temple of Enlightenment, an Island, and a Dissolve are the cards that are turned over here for Cook.
Well, that just might be a concession to the likelihood that Hero's Downfall is in Reyes' hand.
Just wants to make sure he gets something out of his Jace.
Right.
Especially in the face of 3 mana there. Decisions. Here for Reyes. Going to fire at Mutavault. Attack here for 4. We'll see where he's going with these creatures. Mutavault's going to get fired up. It's going to attempt to block. It's going to work. And now here is the Deicide to take care of the Scarhide. So beautiful exchange there for Cook. Now the Mutavaults will trade. So he's got to be thrilled with that. Let's see what Reyes' follow-up's going to be. It's going to be a copy of Herald of Torment. Now Cook will take a draw. Azorius Charm is what he's found. That's a pretty good one.
Starting to push ahead.
You can feel it changing. There's the div. So 2 cards coming for Cook. There's a Verdict over there now. Hasn't played a land yet for the turn. It will come into play untapped in the form of a Plains. Just going to pass the turn back. Reyes will take 1. He'll go down to 19. But Cook is starting to take over this game. If he's able to find another Revelation, this one could get closed off. There's a Swamp.
And Reyes is just running out of action here. And Cook's got a lot of life to work with.
Mogus's Marauder will come down. It can give itself haste and intimidate along with the Herald.
This does allow Reyes to finish off Jace.
The question, of course, is that the primary concern, or is it Cook's life total? I think that's actually hard to say right now.
I feel like it's Jace. You just can't give Bryant looks at cards at this point.
Yeah, I would give him 3 more, closer to another Revelation. Azorius Charm going to take care of the Herald here. And Jace is going to go down to 2, so that's exactly where Reyes was going. Cook is going to untap here. Time for a draw. Finds a copy of Sphinx's Revelation. Jace is going to tick up, and he's going to pass the turn back very quickly and very confidently. He is ready to draw some cards and gain some life. Reyes does draw that copy of Herald of Torment. The other card in his hand right now is Master of the Feast. Bestow will be dissolved. Take a look at the top card. That one's going to go to the bottom for once with Dissolve.
But these scries matter a lot less than the initial ones did.
Yes, sir. Here comes the Marauder. Jace is going to go down to 2. Always has to pass the turn back. Jace is going to tick back up. You see a Last Breath was Cook's draw for the turn. Not finding lands to make that Revelation bigger, but that's okay. He's doing a really nice job of stabilizing right now. Reyes' draw was a Swamp to go along with the Master. And it looks like Cook may have made his way out of this one.
Yeah. There's Master Feast. A lot of power here, but most likely too little too late.
There's a Rev. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Gonna gain a whole bunch of life.
Now here comes the cleanup duty here.
Yep, cleaning things up with the Verdict. There is the Temple. Top card gonna go to the bottom. Jace goes up to 3 before passing the turn back over to Reyes. There's a Lifebane Zombie. That will get dissolved. Allow Cook to use all of his mana over the course of the turn. Wants to keep things clear. And if you're Bryant, you have to imagine, okay, that card's either a land or a removal spell.
Yeah.
Jace will tick up. Bryant will play a land and pass the turn back. See a Supreme Verdict over there now. I think there's another Rev too. Yeah, and this is probably the one that closes the door. Cook is going to gain 6 and draw 6, and all of a sudden he's up to 18. He's got all the cards. He's got the active Planeswalker, and it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, Reyes is now done for.
Yeah. There's a Mutavault. Here's 3 mana. There's a divination. Bryant really up in the velocity now, getting through his deck. Another copy of Sphinx's Revelation was drawn. Jace is going to take up to 5.
Yeah, Bryant can just win this way at this point. Just go ultimate with Jace.
He'll figure something out. And discard a whole bunch of lands. Got plenty of those. 7 cards, he says. Passes the turn back over to Reyes. Reyes will draw a card. Looks like it was another land. And he says, that's good enough for me. I can't come back from this. And Brian Cook is going to win game number 1 here at Blue White Control over Luis Reyes. A really, really close game there. And Reyes was almost able to work his way through it, but just wasn't able to get those last points of damage through.
This is one of the, this is, like I said, I like Luis's build insofar as I'm not a fan of main deck Thoughtseize, but this is the matchup where you pay the price.
Yeah.
And you had to imagine if there's one discard spell mixed in there, Luis wins that first game.
Yep. Well, there will be discard spells after sideboard. I see 2 Thoughtseizes and 2 Duresses hanging out.
2 copies of Brain Maga as well, a Whip of Erebos, an Ultimate Price of Lifebane Zombie, a Silence the Believers, a Grey Merchant of Asphodel, 1 copy of Erebos, God of the Dead, 3 Doom Blades. I think you're just going to see the Erebos come in, the discard spells, Lifebane, and maybe the Whip, but probably not.
1 Pithing Needle, 3 copies of Nyx Fleece Ram, 2 Blind Obedience, 2 Celestial Flare, Last Breath, a Deicide, 2 Dispel, 2 Negate, and another copy of Aetherling in the sideboard to go along with the first one in his main deck. The Ram seems to be pretty good here.
Especially when you imagine Luis will be cutting his creature removal.
Yeah.
And that's the thing you would expect the most. And a 5 toughness blocker is very good against mono black. They can't really get through it. Even if they start bestowing, it's still problematic. The 2 copies of Celestial Flare, the Last Breath, the Deicide, again, mono black aggro really filled with enchantment creatures, so Deicide's good in this matchup. And I think that's basically going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we could see Flare potentially come in. I don't know how necessary it is, but he's just going to bore into a lot of removal, make sure he stabilizes, and once he gets in the late turns of the game, Revelation and company will take over, just like we saw in this one.
This deck, the mono black aggro deck, can't really catch up. It has to be on the front foot the entire time. There's not really that much of in the way of haste in the deck, not that much staying power. So I think every cheap removal, even if it isn't the most efficient or kills the best target all the time, is still worth having if you're Bryant seat.
Well, while these players do shuffle up and get ready for game number 2, we will talk about SCG Game Day, of course, coming in September at all participating stores every Wednesday night.
Yep, 2 pins and 8 foils come in every prize kit, which gets sent out every week. Every month we'll have a new prize kit. This is going to be a Wednesday night operation occurring at the stores here. The tournaments can be sanctioned, non-sanctioned, whatever the format the store owner wants. It's a little more casual focused. And again, StarCityGame.com/game night. That has all the information that you'll need. Hashtag on Twitter and other social medias, hashtag game night.
It's worldwide now as well. You can sign up now, StarCityGames.com/game night. Sign up. Any questions that you may have, game night at StarCityGames.com for emails. It's pretty easy to get all set up, just like you'd go through our in-store programs for IQs, what have you. It's not tough, and if you want it, bug your local store owner.
You have a lot of trained professionals on the line ready to assist you over at Start of the Game. So if you're interested in this, either as a store owner or a player trying to bring this to a store, we'll be happy to help you out.
Just get some squirrel tokens, too.
Yeah.
And who knows what's going to be next? Maybe these pandas. Who knows?
It's not a bad guess.
It's not an informed one, though. No spoiler there.
No, I do not know. I'm not kept in the loop of such things.
I like this panda. I'm a fan. It's fun. I actually wish there was the angry panda, too, though.
Yes.
The mama panda.
The adult panda.
Furious.
Angry that his or her child is wandering off.
Just doing whatever
Yep.
it pleases. Let's not forget, after this round, we will, of course, do our quarterfinals. You know, actually, our quarterfinals is tonight. It's the last quarterfinals ever we'll do on Saturday.
It's true, at least for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
We're altering the schedule again, starting in Baltimore with our IQs. We're going to be running the entire elimination rounds starting at 8 o'clock Sunday morning. So under normal circumstances, we would be getting out of here. And right now it is 8:30.
It'd be way too early.
Way too early.
I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I got out that early.
Yeah.
That being said, we are at a pretty nice pace today. I got to give some credit over to the event. The people running the event, they are just crushing today.
10 rounds of Swiss in approximately 10 hours is unbelievable.
Yeah, that is really something. That is really something. Got to give it to everybody that's over there running the event.
I mean, SCG's got this down to a science, but even by those standards, this has been well run.
There's been like no hiccups or anything, you know?
Yeah.
Stuff like this out of your control, players playing in, you know, the draw turns and blue-white mirrors and taking forever. It just seems like there's been nothing like that today. But to be fair, there's been a lot of mono-blue devotion in the room.
Yes. That helps. A lot of green-white aggro.
Yeah. Yeah, that was surprising, actually. A lot of green-white. If you like islands, though, you're in store for one heck of a top 8. Because there are a lot of mono-blue devotion players here in the room, and Reed Duke already into the top 8. As we are underway here in game number 2, Reyes is going to start off with a Tormented Hero, Cook with a Plains before passing the turn back. A little surprising not to see one of his lands that comes into play tapped on turn 1. As Reyes will attack here for 2. Cook going to go down to 18.
It's very rare to see that.
Yeah, we'll see what the follow play is going to be. There's a Mutavault. That might be the most important part of the turn. There's a Rakdos Cackler as well. So Cook immediately under the gun. Is it time for a Nyx Fleece Ram, perhaps? And it is. The 0-5 wall is here to gum things up. Reyes will have to extend a little further to work his way around that, all part of Cook's plan. Feels like maybe a discard spell. Looks like it's just going to be a Mutavault activation and come on in here for 6. One of these 2 power 1 drops or 2 power creatures will get blocked, and 4 damage will come across. Cook will go down to 14, back up to 15 here in just a moment.
Ram is already doing some work.
Yep. Aggro player's nightmare, trying to get through that thing.
Depends on the exact version of aggro. Something like Boss Sly's got a lot of 2 power creatures in concert with +3 effects.
Yeah.
But for mono black, it is tough.
Yeah, do not try to block against Boss Sly. That is a mistake. That is very difficult to do. Cook did just play a Hollow Fountain tapped. Mutavault's going to go active here for Reyes. He's going to attack here yet again. 4 damage will come across. Cook's going to go down to 11. Looks like he's maybe trying to pace the game a certain way. Now there's a Bile Blight. A little surprised to see that still in his deck.
Well, some mono black aggro players keep it in as a bit of a hedge against Elspeth.
Sure.
You never know when they're going to board into creatures, so. It's not the first time I've seen this come up.
Cook plays an island for the turn. This would be a pretty good Jace turn if he has it. 3 and 4. And there is the Architect of Thought. It's going to go up to 5. So these 2 power 1 drops have gotten significantly worse now. There is a Swamp. Perhaps it's time to bestow a Herald of Torment.
This would be excellent. I mean, that's 5 power.
Yeah.
That kills Jace clean.
And there that is. Looks to be maybe the perfect turn here. If Reyes does want to go after Jace, or perhaps he wants to go after Cook's life total. We'll see. We are attacking. We'll see where those creatures do go in just a moment here.
Find out here. Yep, and it looks like just a Jace, and I like that play a lot.
Yeah, me too. I mean, basically makes Jace a really, really poor draw and poor use of it. That turn. And Jace seems like it's good against this deck, but at the same time, you have to make sure you get your value, which we saw in game 1 from Cook when he was taking it down very aggressively.
Well, that looked like he was going to get good value this game.
Yeah.
You know, a couple 2 power creatures, the Mutavault. It's a very good spot traditionally to land Jason plus it, but a +3 effect, barely enough to take it down.
We can't forget as well that the Tormented Hero did ding Cook for 1 because the bestow was on Tormented Hero, of course, the heroic trigger. Mutavault can get fired up here. Looks like Mogus Marauder is ready. And Reyes is turning this game around very quickly in his favor.
Looked like Bryant had pretty firm control of this one, too. I mean, a Nyx Fleece Ram on turn 2, a Jace. Pretty impressive that Luis is still battling in this one. Not just battling, but looks
like he might be winning.
Yeah.
Everybody going to come into the red zone here. All of them have Intimidate now. So it's an attack for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 11. That's lethal right now. You have to imagine Cook has something here. And there is an Azorius Charm on the Tormented Hero. So Herald Torment will come into play directly. The rest of the damage will be dealt. Looks like 6 does go across. Cook's going to go down to 4. If you're Bryant Cook, you need a Supreme Verdict. You drew a Last Breath. This maybe a Jace. It will be a Verdict to clean up everything. And Cook, very smart, has the Mutavault ready for an opposing Mutavault.
Oh, he can't block soon enough.
Yeah.
I know he wants his mana. He's got a Revelation in hand, but it's the man looking to block.
Reyes going to organize some mana here.
He has Herald. He does have Mogus' Marauder plus,
Tormented Hero.
which is lethal the way the board's set up. Bryant would need to have a spell.
That might be the better route to go. The last card is Master of the Feast. Going to fire at Mutavault first. And there is a Last Breath to take care of that. This could be a turn in which we do see Master now on this relatively clear board.
I wonder if Luis here is going for a setup here. I wonder if he was trying to bait out a removal spell this turn to leave Tormented Hero plus Mogus' Marauder left over.
Cook is going to untap and take a draw here.
Luis has made some crafty plays in this match.
I agree.
I mean, he's been sticking damage in with Mutavaults when he's gotten the shot. He's been ordering things very well.
Elixir of Immortality was the draw. You also see the Jace and the Rev over there for Cook. Elixir might just be a little too slow this game. Gaining 5 certainly isn't terrible, but 5 might not matter. Seems like it may be more about just keeping everything off the board. Now Cook just has to pass the turn back, so Master will draw Bryant a card. That's always scary. This is an attack for 5. That's a Rev for 3. So Cook is going to gain some life and end up taking some damage, but he's not dead yet. Going to go down to, I believe, 2 here. There is Tormented Hero. Just going to pass the turn back. Still sandbagging that, sandbagging the Mogus Marauder.
Yeah. Can't set up the kill with Tormented Hero because it comes into play tap, but any of those other 1-drops set it up from here.
Yep. Master of the Feast getting some real work done here. But it is, of course, very risky to give blue-white extra cards. They already do such a good job of drawing enough extras. Don't want to give them any more. Cook looking at Elspeth, that doesn't really help him very much. He might just be forced to play Elixir of Immortality, which he does deploy. Gaining 5 life, going into 7 at some point. There's a land and a plains. Here's 3 and 4. This is a Jace. That's going to go up. The question, of course, is, does Bryant Cook make it out of this turn alive?
So Cackler has been picked up, and that he can pair with Mogus' Marauder.
Yeah, that combination I actually think does it, because if he plays Cackler and then plays Marauder, he targets everything. They get Haste and Intimidate. You've got the Master attacking for 4, and each one of the 2 power creatures is attacking for 1. 4 plus 3 is 7.
It's exactly lethal if the only thing that Bryant can do is use Elixir.
Yeah. There's Marauder. And it looks like everybody's going to come crashing in here in just a moment, as long as Reyes does do this correctly. And everybody is going to come in. He says, I'm ignoring you, and he's going to win this game. So Luis Reyes playing a very nice game, too, there against Bryant Cook. And Mono Black Aggro versus Black Control is going to go to a 3rd one.
Yeah, there's been a lot of really solid play here from Luis. That second game was very well navigated.
Yeah.
And now game 3, and Luis was able to win that one without the help of any discard spells.
Pretty straightforward. I mean, just creatures and, you know, kind of bobbing and weaving appropriately and pacing his threats the perfect way.
And nothing wrong with Bryant's draw that game, too. A turn 2 Nyx Fleece Ram, had Jace, had Supreme Verdict, had a Rev, some Azorius Charms mixed in, a really solid draw, and Luis was just able to barely squeeze through it. It's one of those rare games you see where Blue-White Control does its thing, it gets to Rev once, but can't quite answer all the different angles of attack the other deck is playing to the table. And the aggressive deck is able to squeeze it out before Blue-White Control is able to deploy all of its resources.
We did talk very briefly about how this is our last tournament where we are running our brand new, this is the last time we're running the elimination rounds today. The quarterfinals. Of course, the reason for that is because we are altering the schedule some. We want to talk about the prizes first that are involved with our brand new Modern Premier IQs that are starting in Baltimore in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're going to be every Sunday starting at 10 a.m., $5,000 in cash prizes, open points to all participants. Top 4 will receive invitations to the Invitational, enhanced side event prizes, all that stuff's going to be going on. Again, modern support finally coming to the Open Series in a consistent, organized way. We're very excited about this tournament series. It's going to be, again, every Sunday, 10 a.m. starting in Baltimore in 2 weeks.
Of course, the brand new schedule is changing. So we'll have, for our standard opens, we'll be doing all the Swiss rounds on Saturday. And then we will begin Sunday morning, bright and early at 8 a.m., where we'll start our elimination rounds for our standard open. Then, of course, our Legacy Open will begin at 9 a.m., and then our Modern Premier IQ will begin at 10 a.m. So we'll, of course, be covering Standard and Legacy, as we always do. And Modern, of course, will just be thrown in the Open Series every week and beginning in 2 weeks. So it should be fun.
Remember, you Baltimore Legacy attendees, keep that in mind.
Don't be late.
9 o'clock.
Yeah, do not be late.
That's the important one there. Or bring a Modern deck. Either's fine.
Tormented Hero going to bash in here for 2. You see Cook start things off with Temple of Enlightenment and an Island. Reyes going to follow up the Tormented Hero attack with a Pain Seer, and Brian Cook says, I don't think so. Syncopate will exile that. Let's see if Cook can keep things going. Oh boy, misses his land drop. What a disaster.
The death knell for blue-white control. Missing one of those first 4 or so land drops.
Last Breath will take care of the Tormented Hero. Reyes is going to gain some life. Does he have a follow-up play? There's a 3rd land, and looks like maybe a thrill kill. It will be. So 2-3 will be the play here. Follow that up with a Duress. So once exactly what Cook is working with. You've got yourselves a Sphinx's Revelation, a Verdict, 2 copies of Jason to dissolve. One thing I've noticed about Bryant is he likes to use Dissolve plus the Scry to bridge the gap.
This is a pretty ugly hand.
Yeah.
You know, Luis here can, for example, take the Dissolve and put Bryant on having to find running lands, one of which is white, to be able to do anything. Or you can just take the Supreme Verdict and not cast anything, or cast his least valuable spells first.
That's like the plan he's going to go with, is actually just taking the Verdict. And this forces Bryant to draw a land right now, and he did not draw one. So now Reyes can actually deploy a threat safely. And there is a Swamp. This is a Spiteful Return. Syncopate is pretty good there.
It's not quite as good as drawing a land in that spot for Bryant, but that's not bad.
Yeah. That could have been a lot worse for Cook. Ends up just taking 2 and going down to 16. If this land is untapped, we got ourselves quite the game. Looks like it was a Celestial Flare. You can see a little frustration there from Bryant. Mutavault here. You have to imagine that Reyes is just going to try to bestow yet again. No reason not to. Make him have it. There's bestow. That's going to work. And for 5 we go. Cook's going to go down to 11.
This is especially frustrating if you have Celestial Flare in hand.
Yeah. And draws another copy of Dissolve. All I can do is pass the turn back. And it looks like Luis Reyes is going to go on to win this game. He will take 1 from the Herald of Torment and take a draw. His card is right now Hero's Downfall. Drew a copy of Gnarled Scarhide. He could bestow that if he'd like. Make a super large throw kill assassin.
I'm just clocking with Mutavault.
Yeah.
Luis is, I've liked the way he's handled this game.
The attack there for 7. Cook's going to go down to 4. Could play the Scarhide, could not. I kind of like playing it because there's no reason not to. There's no real punishment. There's not a card like, Terminus going to roll off the top of the deck. Cook's going to draw a card. It's a Jace. All I can do is pass back, and Reyes is going to take 1 more point of damage from his Herald of Torment. He'll draw 1 more card here. But in just a moment, we're going to see Mono Black Aggro get out of this match alive.
All he has to do is remember to attack.
Yeah, that's the key. So there's Gnarled Scarhide here. Everybody's going to come in. And that is going to do it. Brian Cook's going to look at a very powerful hand, but the inability to get it done. Luis Reyes wins this match over Bryant Cook 2-1. Mono Black Aggro taking down Blue Eye Control, and I'm not sure if there's a chance for an X2 to make it, but you have to imagine if there is, it's our Mono Black Aggro player.
Yeah, Luis played a little bit of bracket buster here. Brian Cook X1 and 1 going into the round.
Yep.
Unclear what the tiebreaker scenario was like there. Luis not going to give him the concession there at the end, just going to take his win. Be happy with his, at worst, top 16 finish, perhaps top 8.
So congratulations, Luis Reyes. And the 2 games that he won, heck, even the 1 game that he lost, just very well played games all around. I like the way he played everything.
Yeah, I was a fan of how he navigated those games.
Yeah.